Lisa's cafe smelled of cinnamon and candied orange. The door chime hadn't rested since Thanksgiving. Outside, the fine snow made the garland lights in the window flicker. Monica Hutton, scarf pulled up to her nose, pushed the door open with Emma and Tom glued to her sides and a steaming cardboard cup balanced in her free hand. Truffle, her white chihuahua, peeked her little nose out of the bag like a tiny queen. "Mom, can I grab one of the green boxes?" Tom asked, pointing at the tower of Christmas macarons. "The red ones match Truffle's hat," Monica joked, that Gemini spark lighting up whenever exhaustion tugged at her body. The base of the tower crackled. A sigh, a warning. Monica dropped the cup on the counter, reached out, and then Aidan appeared from behind the espresso machine, crossing the aisle in 2 quick strides. With a tray in his left hand and his right one free, he caught the impending collapse. Monica grabbed the top box. Their hands met in the air, fingers pressing the cardboard warmth against warmth. "You hold, I'll stabilize here," he said, low voice, practical. There was calm in his movement, like he was assembling an idea. Steam from the coffee machine fogged the glass. Their breaths drew tiny clouds. Truffle growled at the sweet intruder, and Aidan, without breaking eye contact with Monica, offered the dog a crumb of cookie. The chihuahua accepted and let out the smallest sigh, instant approval. "Thank you," Monica said, carefully letting go of the box. "You just saved me an 8-year-old meltdown." 2 times 8, he corrected, glancing at Emma and Tom. "I'm Aidan," Lisa's right hand, while Steve rests his arm. Lisa peeked out from the kitchen with flour on her cheek and a "everything under control." That sounded like jingle bells. Monica exhaled, damp wool against her wrist, and that breath carried something else inside it: urgency. Christmas had just flooded her restaurant, recently crowned with 3 stars with reservations. Sally had left for Florida, her ex was in Tampa, and shared custody was no longer a thing. "Lisa, I need someone trustworthy," she blurted, looking at her kids. Starting now. Aidan heard her and didn't hesitate, with that Aquarian twist of jumping into the water without checking the temperature. "I'm free. I can drop them off, pick them up, help with homework, dinners, and walk Truffle whenever you need. I live in Brooklyn and my schedule is flexible." Monica studied his face, honesty there, no artificial shine. Emma touched Truffle's leash. Tom rescued a Metro card that had slipped from his mother's pocket. Aidan picked it up and handed it to Monica. Their fingers brushed again, a brief, clean spark. "Let's talk after the shift," she said, holding back a smile. "If you can hold boxes like that, maybe you can hold my afternoons together." The bell chimed again, the garland flickered, and the world rushed on. But at the center of the counter, a small warm silence remained, like an unsigned agreement. Maybe the guy from the café could hold more than boxes. The radiator hissed like an impatient kettle. On the windowsill, the snow melted into clear tears, and Monica's kitchen smelled of browning garlic and broccoli beginning to surrender in the pan. Aidan set his coat on the back of a chair and, by instinct, opened the cupboard with the glasses as if he had lived there before. Truffle, with her collection of miniature barks, planted herself between his sneakers and the rest of the world. "First, an interview with the boss," Monica said, her Gemini smile lightening the seriousness. "If Truffle approves of you, we all do." Aidan crouched with open hands and spoke to the dog in a quiet voice. 2 seconds, 3. Truffle sniffed, accepted a tiny bit of carrot, and settled at a supervisory distance. Emma and Tom celebrated the verdict with a palm slap. "Plan," Aidan announced, already wearing the striped apron Monica handed him. 25-minute blocks. Reading, homework, break. Every bit of progress gets a colored magnet on the magnetic schedule. When a row fills up, reward, choosing the music for dinner. "And if we tie?" Emma asked. "All 3 win." "1 song each," he replied, glancing sideways at Truffle. Monica watched the whole setup. There was something in Aidan's Aquarian way of organizing chaos without adding weight. She felt the exhaustion of the last few weeks clinging to her shoulders. But as she watched him explain the system to the kids, something in her chest loosened like a ribbon letting air through. It wasn't just relief. It was something else, a new warmth brushing her from the inside, unexpected, cautious. She liked him, she realized, and that realization came with an automatic reflex. set boundaries, and look him in the eye without running. "Just so you know, I'm the boss," she said, placing a blue magnet. "Perfect," he smiled. "I like when people remind me of things." They ate a simple, well-done pasta, and Monica noticed the dry wool of the apron against her wrist when she passed him the salt. Aidan tapped the table with his knuckles, a shy little celebration. Truffle settled beside his shoe as if she had always belonged in that corner. "I got divorced 3 years ago," Monica said, without dramatics, "and today I got confirmation of full custody. Sally, our home support since the twins were born, left for Florida. Her mother's sick. I've been overwhelmed with reservations. Since the 3 stars, this Christmas is nothing like the others." Aidan nodded. "Things change fast sometimes. A year and a half ago, I was about to get married. It didn't happen. I lived in Los Angeles, but it wasn't my place anymore. I came back to Brooklyn, home, to think slowly. I'm not in a hurry. I like things you can hold with your hands."
He was sincere, clean.
Monica found herself following the line of his jaw when he laughed with the twins. The way he picked up a fallen fork and set it in the sink. The way he listened without checking his phone. She was drawn to that calm, that promise of not being a wildfire, but a lamp left on over the counter. And she wasn't blind either. Aidan was extremely handsome, with a body to match. And yet, another thought ran parallel. 15-year age difference. A small town inside the big city, rumors that travel faster than any train. When Tom got stuck on a subtraction, Aidan turned the numbers into slices of pizza. When Emma yawned, stopwatch in hand, he announced final lap and ran a toothbrush race to the bathroom. Monica collected the dishes, trying not to smile. When she came back, she found them reading stories in the living room, Truffle asleep at Aidan's feet. "Could you come tomorrow starting at 4? She asked softly. "Double shift. I'll be home by midnight. Starting at 4, he repeated without hesitation. "And earlier if things get complicated." Their breaths lingered close for a moment, as if the hallway had shrunk. Aidan pointed, with his index finger, at a small white shadow of flour on her forehead. He didn't say anything. He just lifted his hand and wiped it off with his thumb, very gently. Monica held his gaze 1 second longer than she should have and looked away with a tiny laugh. "Truffle approves of you," she said. "Let's see if I approve of you tomorrow." He shook his head lightly with that quiet confidence she was starting to like far too much. "Consider it done," and he left the house, closing the door as if already wishing it were tomorrow. Monica tiptoed upstairs, adjusted Emma's sheet, and brushed a lock of hair off Tom's forehead with the tip of her fingers. The house was spotless, toys lined up, sink gleaming, a piece as soft as clean cotton. She went back down. In the living room, Aidan was waiting on the sofa with 2 mugs of hot chocolate and his laptop open on the coffee table, blue light outlining his profile. "Cardamom and a pinch of salt," he said, handing her the mug. "If you don't like it, tomorrow I'll try anise," Monica smiled. The sweet steam warmed her face. Truffle circled her cushion twice and curled up in the space between them. The steam radiator set a gentle rhythm. Outside, snow tapped at the window as if asking to come in. "My day, supplier arrived late. A table wanted a photo with the chef," she summed up with her Gemini lightness. "Oven went dramatic for 15 minutes and came back to life. Balance, 9 out of 10. Aidan took a sip and nodded. Our afternoon, reading, homework, break. Emma picked the music. Tom turned fractions into pizza slices. 2 improvements for tomorrow, visual timer and stickers. I've made a chart, 3 good things and 1 to improve. He turned the laptop toward her. On the screen, a simple mini app, color blocks, school reminders, teeth brushing shifts. I've been building it slowly. If you want, I can give you access as user 1. Monica reached out and, without thinking, placed her fingers over his on the trackpad to try it. The porcelain mug still warmed her other hand. The touch lasted just long enough to become noticeable. Aidan had pulled back half a centimeter polite and let her take over with that Aquarius little smile that meant try and see. It works, she declared. And everything downstairs is perfect. Thank you for leaving the house like that. Tomorrow at 4. And remember, you're still on trial this week. Noted, he said. And very happy to continue if you are. I am, she admitted softly. He closed the laptop without fully shutting it down. The room settled into shades of blanket and shadow. 3 quick questions. Short answers, all right, postponed dream. Sleeping 8 hours in a row. You? A train trip with no destination, comfort food. Ramen, you? Cheese omelet, favorite place when it snows. My kitchen window. You? This sofa right now. Monica's laugh was soft, unexpected. She took another sip, set the mug down, and stood. Aidan, today you pass. Thank you. See you tomorrow. She leaned down to pick up the wool blanket. Her knees brushed his as she moved. Truffle lifted her snout like an official goodbye stamp. At the door, Monica turned back. And I'm very happy. Me too, he replied, still holding that small unsigned agreement while the snow insisted outside. See you tomorrow, he added, without knowing his future was about to get better. The morning felt strange from the start. Donald had stopped by without warning and, after a brief and polite conversation on the doorstep, took Emma and Tom for a couple of days until Christmas. Monica texted Aidan. The kids are with their father. No need to come. She left her phone on the counter and breathed in the silence of the house, spotless, soft as clean cotton. The doorbell rang anyway. Aidan appeared with a Saturday smile, a wool beanie and a bag of warm bread. He hadn't seen the message. You're way too punctual to cancel on, Monica said, not reproaching, just playing, and he caught the tone. Then, emergency brunch? He suggested, with that Aquarius talent for finding new paths without drama. Monica looked at Truffle, already waiting by the leash. Emergency brunch. In Nolita, they shared French toast with maple syrup and a simple scramble. Monica turned Donald's visit into a light anecdote. Aidan didn't comment. He listened. They talked about trains, about music for cooking, about things you can hold with your hands. I've got a place, he said afterward, tilting his head. A little off route. It was an old bookstore that smelled of paper and cold air sneaking through the doorframe. Aidan led her to the children's section.
He picked a blue hardback with snowy illustrations and pulled 2 cardstock bookmarks from his pocket.
For Emma and Tom, he wrote on them, neat handwriting. For when the snow comes back. Monica looked at him differently then. No showmanship. Just a gesture. Thank you, she said. They'll love it. Later they climbed up to Monica's rooftop. Christmas lights stretched from railing to railing. The city hummed below. A soft flurry began, as if the sky were testing the tone. Truffle strutted forward, her white sweater matching the day. Thank you for being my angel in this chaos, Monica said, lowering her voice. Sometimes I feel like I'm breathing borrowed air. Aidan tilted his head, not intruding. Before we go on, he said, I want to be clear. I like you, since the Tower of Boxes. I'm not here to complicate your life or ask for anything you don't want. If you just need help, I'm here. If one day you look my way, I'll be here too. I can be patient. Your rhythm and the kids matter to me. I can't believe it. Are you sure? You don't care about being with a woman 15 years older and with a few extra kilos. I'm attracted to you exactly as you are. Your curves drive me crazy. You're young, handsome, smart. You know you could have any woman. I don't want just anyone. I want you, and I'd like to have something real with you. No rush, but serious. I don't like games. My fear isn't about you, Monica confessed, hugging her coat. It's about my habit of trying to control everything. 3 stars, 2 kids, an agenda that rules me. I think about what people will say, and, we can go slow, Aidan said. With joy, but without hurry. Let the schedule rule some days and not others. I don't care what people say. I'm fine with that. He unwrapped his scarf and draped it over Monica's shoulders. She held one end. He held the other. Truffle stuck her snout between their wrists and stayed there, as if sealing a truce. Here? He asked, not moving closer. Monica nodded, a small, clear gesture. Here. They leaned in. Foreheads first, then their hands finding each other beneath the scarf, over warm fabric. The first kiss was clean, brief, warm like a kitchen light at dawn. No urgency, just an agreement. This can be our pace. I'll text you when I get home, he said, pulling back slowly, still sharing the scarf. You're a sweetheart. Talk later, she said, gazing at him enchanted. It seemed impossible, but he looked even more handsome. Deal. They stayed there a moment, watching the city under the stubborn snow. Aidan tucked the scarf away. Monica tucked her smile away. Truffle sneezed, solemn, bringing them back to reality. Time to go get warm. Christmas Eve dawned white, Aidan called early. When Monica opened the door, she found him wearing a wool beanie, cheeks flushed from the cold, holding a breakfast tray stamped with Lisa's café logo. Truffle barked once, then approved the visit. "Urgent delivery from my favorite chef," he said, walking straight into the kitchen. Breakfast looked like a friendly still life. Slices of blood orange and pomegranate, a bowl of berries drizzled with honey. Mini brioche still warm, thin sheets of salted butter, and homemade jam, 2 golden croissants. A portion of cider and raisin sweet bread, creamy yogurt with walnuts. And 2 cups of freshly ground coffee with a fine layer of foam. Aidan set out cotton napkins, polished cutlery, and a tiny vase with sprigs of fir. He also left a note: Plan A, stay in. Plan B, see if the world can wait. Plan A, Monica decided, with that bright Gemini smile. They ate slowly. Aidan told her about a new idea for his mini-app. Monica added a couple of improvements and laughed with her eyes. Truffle settled under the table, nose against his shoes. The quiet snow made the apartment feel bigger. Afterward, Aidan cleared up and set the table again, but this time with a gray blanket draped over the back of the sofa and 2 small cups of cocoa. Monica crossed the living room with her hair loose and a new lightness in her step. "Thank you for yesterday," she said. "For everything." Aidan looked at her without rushing, in that Aquarius calm of his. "I'm here today too if you want." They sat together. The blanket covered their knees. She brushed his wrist with her fingertips.
He responded by intertwining their hands, fingers lacing together, breaths matching.
The kiss was clear and deliberate. The blanket slid a little higher. A zipper sounded, then the rub of wool and cotton. Then whispers against skin. Hands learning paths and saying, "I'm here," before their bodies melted fully into each other and touched the sky. They went back to talking, laughing at nothing, and planning silly things until noon. Aidan ordered ramen for 2 from their usual place. They ate leaning against the counter, sharing chopsticks and blowing on the steam. Monica wiped a drop of broth from the corner of his mouth with her thumb. He held her by the waist and pulled her gently closer. A second kiss warmed the air, breath against her neck, hands that promise and deliver. They ended up in the bedroom, exhausted from pleasure. The afternoon brought a movie and soft lights. Truffle, curled up like a tiny dumpling, snored like a muted flute. On the screen, a couple found each other late. On the sofa, another found each other right on time. There were stifled laughs, a long pause, and then that sweet urgency that doesn't push but invites. Looks asking for permission, explicit yeses, warmth under the blanket, and back to each other again. They couldn't get enough of each other's bodies. The afternoon found them satisfied on the living room sofa. When night fell, they walked arm in arm to the Italian restaurant Monica visited from time to time. The place was simple: checkered tablecloths, paper lanterns, old sepia photos. The owners, a pair of elderly lovebirds, greeted them with hugs and a "be happy and eat," which counted as a blessing. They shared minestrone that tasted like home, gnocchi with slow-cooked tomato and basil, and a ricotta tart with lemon zest. They talked about Emma and Tom, about recipes for when they returned, and about schedules that could bend without breaking. Outside, under the amber streetlight, Monica took a breath and looked him straight in the eyes. "I've made a decision," she said firm. "I want this with you, at our pace. With my kids, with Truffle, with my chaotic hours, and with your app Sundays and your excessive breakfasts. Not hiding it, not asking for permission we don't owe if you're in." "I'm in." Aidan held her gaze, serious and happy at once. "I'm in." They kissed once more, short, clean, sealing a contract that needed no signature. Snow started again, fine and luminous, as if in approval. It was Christmas Eve, and they had something new to prepare. Neither imagined what was coming next. The morning of the 24th brought a clear invitation. Aidan texted early, "Will you come spend Christmas Eve with my family? My parents Lisa and Steve and my nieces and nephews Ryan and Carol will be there. I'd really love it if you came." Monica smiled before reading it twice. Emma and Tom would arrive on the morning of the 25th, and she wasn't working until the 26th. The restaurant was closed so everyone could celebrate. Yes. I'll bring something tasty, she replied. Around midday, Monica rang the doorbell at the Palmer house in Brooklyn, carrying Truffle in her carrier and a covered tray of gourmet appetizers. The entree smelled of pine and cinnamon. From the living room came soft music and the creak of polished wood under footsteps. "The chef is here," Aidan announced, coming to greet her with a warm smile. The house felt like a hug, shelves filled with a lifetime of books, mismatched picture frames, a Christmas tree with warm lights and handmade ornaments. In the dining room, a white tablecloth with sprigs of rosemary, candles, and stoneware plates waited their turn. Lisa appeared wearing a red apron and bright eyes. Steve wore a wine-colored sweater and had the generous, no-fuss air of someone who welcomes wholeheartedly. "Thank you for having us," Monica said, giving Truffle a gentle stroke.
"And Merry Christmas Eve. Come in, dear," Mrs. Palmer said.
"That smell tells me you didn't come empty-handed." Monica uncovered the tray. Mini roasted pumpkin tartlets with fresh cheese and spiced honey. Beet tartare spoons with pistachio and citrus. Salt cod brandade bites with herb oil. And puffed cheese shells filled with a sherry mushroom cream. "If we don't put that out right now." "Ryan and Carol are climbing the walls," Steve joked, with that mix of pride and hunger. Ryan, 16, and Carol, 14, appeared instantly, greeting her with shy curiosity. Carol won Truffle's heart with a perfect scratch behind the ear. Monica kept the conversation light. She told a story about a supplier who confused Julienne with Julio and Anna, and the table burst into laughter. The Palmer's menu was a map of memories. Starters: marinated olives, warm homemade bread, Monica's tray, and a fennel and orange salad. Main course: slow-simmered tomato and basil lasagna, and a dish of lemon chicken with potatoes and rosemary. Sides: glazed carrots, golden Brussels sprouts, and creamed spinach. Dessert: bread pudding with raisins and vanilla sauce, and an apple crumble pie. Aidan stood next to Monica to plate the appetizers. In a low voice, he whispered, "Thank you for coming. This meant a lot to me." "To me too," she said, direct, brushing his wrist with a smile that said, "I'm here." During dinner, there were toasts and gentle teasing. Lisa asked about the restaurant. Monica spoke about her team and how the three-star fame was, really, a shared responsibility. Steve retold the story of Aidan disassembling the family router at age 11, just to see if he could improve it. Ryan asked coding questions. Carol wanted to know how one invents a dessert. Monica shared a salted caramel trick and promised to send them a niece-nephew-proof recipe. There was a lovely moment of silence when everyone tasted the lasagna at the same time. Sincere sighs filled a contented table. Truffle slept curled on her blanket, exhausted from so much attention. When someone inevitably hinted at the age difference, Lisa cut in naturally. "In this family we count joys, not years. And tonight we have several at this table." Monica held Aidan's gaze for a moment. He squeezed her hand under the table. No one added anything. Nothing else was needed. After dessert, they moved to the living room to open small gifts. Lisa gave Monica an embroidered kitchen towel with her name and a box of spices from the family pantry. Steve gifted her an antique oven thermometer that still has stories in it. Ryan and Carol received the promised bookmarks and a voucher for an afternoon of cooking at the restaurant. Before leaving, Aidan stepped out onto the porch with Monica. The amber hallway light spilled onto the still snow. "Thank you for bringing your home into mine," he said. "Thank you for making space for me and yours," she replied. They hugged with the kind of calm that never rushes. They laughed. The night smelled of pine and cinnamon, and for a moment the world felt perfectly arranged. The bell above Lisa's cafe door gave its clear little chime as Monica walked in with Truffle in her bag and a thick scarf around her neck. Hutton was already waiting by the window with 2 steaming cups of hot chocolate and an open project notebook. Outside, the snow was turning to meltwater. Inside, warm wood and espresso steam made a gentle little cave. "I've been preparing Emma and Tom," Monica began, without preamble. "I told them about someone who takes care of us and makes me feel good. I think they're going to be thrilled." Aidan nodded, attentive. "And there's something else," she went on, steady and clear. "For this to work, you need to thrive too. I know I'm taking up your time with the kids. I want you to keep growing, to push your app project. I don't want to hold you back. She slid a red napkin across the table as if underlining her thoughts. I'm going to slow down at the restaurant, she said. I figured out how to delegate more. If we lose a star or two, so be it. There's no shortage of customers, but I'm missing hours with my kids. And with you, if you agree. I'll look for someone I trust to come in twice a week, calmly, without rushing. You can help, but I'll be present too. Aidan set down his pen and took a deep breath, sorting the chaos with simple rules. My terms, he said, with a small smile. 1. 2 fixed deep work blocks per week with no interruptions, except a real emergency. 2. Sunday check-ins, 15 minutes to adjust schedules, emotions, and logistics. 3. With Emma and Tom, I'm support and a trusted adult. Not a replacement for their dad. Their rhythm comes first. 4. Your house is your house. If Donald comes over, clear boundaries and define times. No surprises. 5. I'll help with Truffle and whatever you need. But you don't neglect your life for mine. And I won't neglect mine for yours. Signed, Monica said, laughing in a way that eased the air. And I add, one night together every week, no matter what. 2. A short trip in spring, kids or no kids. 3. If one of us feels overwhelmed, we say it before it gets heavier. Lisa passed by with a tray and a knowing wink. Truffle poked her nose out, sniffed the chocolate, and retreated into her cushioned cave. There's something else, Monica added, looking out at the street. This time I want to celebrate what's simple. Fewer theatrical dinners, more soups, fewer sleepless nights because of the 10 o'clock service. I want to read with Emma and Tom. Go get comics on Saturdays. Host coding afternoons with your nieces and nephews. I want us to have time to walk without a goal. Aidan turned the notebook toward her. It showed a color-coded diagram. School, rehearsal, home, work blocks, breaks. One corner read, family mode. If you turn the heat down, he said, I'll turn mine up where it matters. I'm not afraid of losing stars if we gain life. And if someday you want to tighten things again, I'll be there to keep the rhythm with you. They sat for a moment in the cafe's warm hum, teaspoons, plates, soft laughter in the background. Monica lifted her cup. So, agreement, Aidan echoed. Their hot chocolate cups clinked. A dusting of cocoa left a ring on the foam like a seal. The bell over the door chimed again, and for a moment the world seemed to mark time according to their new plan. Lillian and Fred's luxury apartment, Monica's parents, opened like a lookout over Times Square, tempered glass windows, dark wood floors, and a buffet that smelled of cocoa and cinnamon. They had spent Christmas on a cruise and wanted to host a big party to celebrate with the family. The ball hung perfectly on the other side of the glass. Monica arrived with Emma, Tom, and Truffle, who was debuting a tiny sequin sweater. Aidan came in shortly afterward with Brenda and Dylan, his parents. Lee and Steve with Ryan and Carol. Monica's twin brothers were there too, with their partners and kids, filling the air with laughter and wrapping paper. Welcome, said Lillian, raising her glass. Tonight this home belongs to everyone. The menu looked like a postcard. Oysters with mignonette, mini arancini, beet carpaccio, roast loin with sage, fennel and orange salad, and a dessert table with cannoli and chocolate Yule log. Fred played DJ with danceable classics. Lisa poured espresso. Brenda and Dylan chatted with Monica's brothers as if they'd known them forever. Truffle patrolled the floor looking for approved crumbs. At 11:40, Aidan asked for a minute. He took out a box of small LED bracelets from his backpack. It's nothing fancy, just coordination, he smiled. Each one has a color, Emma and Tom green, family's gold. He looked at Monica blue. The lights dimmed slightly. Aidan cinched his phone to the bracelets and to a few discreet mini projectors he had set up near the window. A sky of dots appeared across the glass, a constellation that connected into two symbols first, Gemini and Aquarius. Then a line that read, family mode. The bracelets blinked in sequence, green, gold, blue. On the wall screen, a short clip played, needing hands, bookmarks, a shared scarf. And at the end, Aidan spoke without pomp. I'm not here to take time from anyone. I'm here to give it. Thank you for letting us be together. A warm, genuine round of applause followed. Brenda and Dylan toasted. Lisa wrapped her arms around Monica's shoulders. Ryan and Carol lifted their green-lit wrists like they were at a concert. Emma and Tom looked at their mother for confirmation. Monica nodded, her emotion quiet but solid. Then Monica stepped forward holding a key tied with a red ribbon. "Aidan," she said, "this is my duplicate key. And this," she held up an envelope, "is the contract for the studio I've set up for you at home. A good desk, a decent chair, and silence guaranteed by 3 witnesses." She pointed at Emma, Tom, and Truffle. "I turn my fire down, you turn yours up. And I'm saying it in front of everyone because I want to make room for you at home, not just in my calendar." Aidan looked at her as if the city noise had stopped. Dylan murmured, "Well said," and Lillian clinked glasses. 10, 9. Fred counted down, turning up the music. The ball began to drop, confetti everywhere, neon colors bouncing off the glass. 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. Kisses on cheeks, crossed hugs. Aidan and Monica met in the middle of the room. Truffle nudged his ankle with her nose, demanding her share of celebration. They laughed. Aidan held the key to his chest. Monica touched one of the bracelets, now glowing steady blue. No long words were needed, the gesture said everything. Out on the terrace, under a shower of streamers, Emma and Tom jumped around with Ryan and Carol. Lisa and Steve leaned out and called, "Tomorrow, hot chocolate and rolls."
Tonight, dancing. Brenda dragged Lillian into a spin.
Dylan and Fred debated the best route home to avoid the crowds. Monica rested her forehead against Aidan's. "Thank you," she whispered. "For the sky and the ground. For wanting to stay." "I'm here," he said. "And I'm staying." Someone turned on slow music. Nothing grand, just a stolen waltz between tables. Hands found a waist, breath moved closer, and the floor creaked softly under their steps. From the window, the city kept up its joyful noise. Inside, the two of them kept their own new count. They toasted one last time, and the night for once felt exactly enough. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe and stay to watch the next one.